Hi folks, and welcome back to another Make It video. I'm really excited about this one. It's something that's been on the agenda for a long time. I'm going to be making a baker tent. So a baker tent is a traditional North American canvas tent used by fur traders in the 19th century. Their use is documented back to about 1850, but they're probably much older than that. It's a simple lean-to tent with a sleeping area and a protruding porch with side wings, which allow you to have a fire underneath it, and the cover, the roof, protects the fire from the weather and allows you to cook and to heat the tent. The name baker tent is thought to come from the shape because it resembles a reflector oven, also known as a Yankee baker. I spent a bit of time drawing out my design just on paper, getting the measurements right, getting the angles how I wanted them. Once I was happy with my drawings and my workings out, I then made a scale model out of paper just to make sure it was all going to work out okay. It was a useful thing to do because it helped to identify areas that are going to be difficult while I'm sewing this thing together. There are corners which I know are going to create problems, but it helped me to kind of think about those and plan and work out a sequence of putting this thing together. Tools wise, I'm going to be doing all the sewing on my sewing machine. This is only a domestic machine, but it's an old one. It's sort of 1970s and it's well built, and I'm hoping it'll be okay. I've also got a long straight edge and a steel rule for marking out and for cutting. I've got a decent pair of scissors and a rotary cutter for all my cuts. And for my marking out, I'm going to use tailor's chalk, which marks well on the canvas, but it rubs out afterwards. This is the canvas I'm going to use. This is a heavy gauge 14-ounce canvas. It might be a bit overkill for this tent, but I wanted it to be thick and strong and last a lifetime, and I'm sure this will. There's 16 meters of it here on the roll, and it's been treated. It's a waterproof canvas. I'm hoping that my machine will cope with stitching this. Obviously there's going to be multiple layers in parts of the project. So yeah, we're just going to have to see how that goes. I bought heavy-duty denim needles, so they're less likely to bend and break. And thread-wise, I've got some Gutermann polyester thread. This is the thicker stuff. They do a kind of general purpose, I think it's just called sew all, which is a bit thin. So I've gone for the next gauge up. It's the stuff on the green reel. The first thing I'm going to do is to cut out all of the component pieces of this tent, starting with the sides. These are quite large panels. This is 3 meters by 1500 or 1.5 meters high. So it's quite a big piece. I'm going to get them done first. There's a bit of hemming to be done, and each panel I'm going to do as much work on them as possible before I sew the whole tent together. So reinforcing points for eyelets, any hemming and bits and pieces like that I'm going to do while it's just a flat panel, because it's easier to sew that way, and then we'll stitch the completed panels together. I've cut out the canvas sides, and if I just show you on the model here, that's 3 meters along the bottom there, 1.5 meters up here, plus 600 millimeters up the short side there, plus your seam allowance. So I've allowed 40 mil on top of those measurements, just to allow for seams. Before I do any of the hemming though, I need to reinforce the areas where I'm going to be using these brass grommets. I'm using these wherever there are tie-out points, and I don't want them to pull through the canvas. So I've cut out some of these canvas triangles. This is the same canvas as on the rest of the tent, and they're going to be hemmed and then sewn in to reinforce the areas where these tie-out points are going to go. So that's one side done. Just need to get on and do the other. There's just one last thing to do on the sides, and that's to put this part here in, which is actually a sleeve. That's an open sleeve which runs all the way through, and a pole will go in there. There's also a pole that comes along the top, and they'll join together at the top there, but the poles are external through these sleeves, so there's going to be a sleeve along the top and then sleeves down the sides. I've got a piece of canvas here that's 1200 millimeters long, plus my seam allowance, so it's actually 1240, and this is 240 millimeters wide. It's quite a large sleeve, but there's a reason for that. I want to be able to, if I'm not taking poles with me, to save on weight, I want to be able to use poles that I can cut from the forest. So if I come across a load of hazel, I could cut some poles and use them on this tent. Or if a pole broke, or for whatever reason, you know, I can use something that I can find to make this tent work. So I want the sleeve to be big enough to accommodate a pole that I can cut, and then they're going to be sewn on the side panel just behind the point where the door panel goes, so between the porch area and the sleeping compartment. It's half of the length of the tent. The tent is 3 meters long, 1.5 meters of porch area, a meter and a half of sleeping area. So this is going to go just behind that point, so it doesn't get in the way rather of that front door panel. While I'm sewing this sleeve on here for the poles, I also want to trap in this toggle. It's just on a bit of cord that I've made up from the same canvas, and that's going to help to tie back the side panels when I don't want them extended along the sides of the porch. So I've got the option to either have them there or to roll them back and out of the way, so I've just got the roof of the porch. So I'm just going to slide that in and stitch through. These are positioned at 400mm from the top and from the bottom, and they're just, like I say, they're just held in place by that stitching. There'll be another loop on the other side which will be held in when I sew the front panel to the other side of this side panel. And I'm just going to walk the foot over because it's quite a few layers here. This cord that I've made is 4 layers thick. Then obviously I've got another 2 layers on each side of this sleeve, so there's another 4. So it's 8 layers plus the backing bit. So there's actually 9 layers of canvas I'm having to go through. If I just try and gun it through using the motor, there's a good chance I'm going to snap the needle. So for these thicker bits, I'm just going to walk it over. The front panel of the tent is going to be slightly more tricky because I'm going to put a zip in it. I want to have a canvas door, so what I need to do now is mark out where that door is going to go. I'm going to make a cut, I'm going to hem it back, and then I've got a heavy duty zip here. This is I think it's called a 00 zip. It's one of these continuous loop YKK zips, super heavy duty, and that's what I'm going to use for the door. Panel is the easiest panel to do. It's just hemmed along the bottom edge and 2 strengthening eyelet points, and because the panel is smaller, that makes it a lot easier to get through the machine. Now for the roof, I'm going to have to join two pieces. This tent is going to be 2 meters wide so that I can sleep in it comfortably, and my rolls of canvas are only 1.8 meters, so they're not wide enough to run down the length of the roof. So I'm going to have to cut them sideways and join. To do that, I'm just going to make 2 seams. So there'll be a seam like this on one piece and the opposite way on the other, and they kind of interlock. And then when I sew the roof onto the rest of the tent, I can align it in such a way that water just runs off the top one onto the next piece that's underneath, if you see what I mean. It creates a kind of a natural water check. So that's my next job, to sew these 2 large pieces of canvas together right down the middle.
there's just one more bit that needs to be done on the main part of the tent, and that's this kind of down stand here. Just on the porch area, I wanted to have a little 4-inch or 100mm down stand just to make sure water drips off and doesn't run underneath the canvas. It'll also protect the top of the side panel, which is going to have a load of eyelets along, or grommets along, and that's how this is going to fasten to here. There'll be little toggles, and that will fasten, so that will protect those holes from the weather. So that's the next thing to do. At least they'll be nice and small and easy to sew.
So that is all the components made, all the panels are made and ready to assemble. I would estimate it's probably taken me about 10 to 12 hours so far, making them all up, cutting them out, hemming them, making up the cords, all of the sewing, about 10 to 12 hours. So yeah, there's quite a lot of work involved. You can buy these, you don't have to go and make one. You know, there are companies out there that produce these and you can buy them. The Red Tent Company make superb looking ones, really nice, in different sizes. They do a small one, a kind of family one, a kitchen one they called a Land Rover tent, which is quite interesting. It's the height of the back of a Land Rover and sort of attaches onto the back. And there are other companies, Frost River I think make them, but if you Google Baker tent or Campfire tent, you'll see there's a whole load of people making them. Personally, I just like making gear. I like making my own gear, and I've wanted to have a go at making one of these for ages, so it's been a good opportunity. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in part 2 when I sew all this lot together.